Okay, good evening and welcome to today's Cabinet meeting on the 16th of October for Warwick District Council. Be aware, please, that the meeting is recorded and live streamed and will be uploaded to the Council's YouTube channel. Details of how the recordings are stored and how long they're retained for are available on the Council's website. In terms of fire alarms, there's no planned test, so if the alarm goes, please leave promptly. If the preferred route is blocked, use the nearest alternative, not using the lift. Everyone must assemble at the designated point, which is at the Central Reservation in Regent Grove. Members of public and press report to a member of the Town Hall staff who will be wearing yellow fluorescent jackets and don't re-enter unless safe to do so. And a reminder on microphones, make sure that you speak into them and don't have something in the way. So item 1, I have as apologies for absence, apologies from Councillor Whiteman and Councillor Roberts, and I'm pleased to see we have Councillor Phillips substituting for Councillor Day. Have I missed anyone? Okay, thank you. We're on to declarations of interest. Anything to declare? Okay, thank you. The next is the minutes held on the 3rd of September. I will propose them from the chair unless anyone wants to discuss. Is that Councillor King seconding? All those in favour? Thank you very much. We are now on to number 4, which is the annual Treasury Management Report. Now, this, I believe, was discussed at Overview and Scrutiny Committee. So we'll first of all have a quick introduction, if necessary, from Councillor Chilvers and then on to Councillor Milton.
Yeah, thank you. I won't say very much apart from just to emphasise that this is a Treasury Management Report looking backwards over what has happened, and we've got the Treasury Strategy, which comes forward around budget time in February. So this is looking back at our performance in 24-25.
Thank you. Councillor Milton for ONS.
Thank you, Chair. We see this report as a regular thing now, and actually I think committee are getting much better at getting their heads around it because it is actually quite complex. We had some excellent input from officers guiding our discussions, and there was a genuine thank you from the Overview and Scrutiny Committee, not just for the report, but also the explanations on the evening. We explored quite a few things, but one of the things that did come up was actually, whilst the report might to some feel a little bit dry in its content, it is actually a good opportunity to explain to the public how our lending is secured as well as borrowed. I know that does become every now and then it becomes a bit of a story in the media because our council sometimes looks quite highly leveraged because of our housing portfolio, and it's quite useful as a way to remind members of that. We also did, as a committee, want to congratulate officers for the work, which has actually led to us exceeding the peer group performance on treasury management, and I think that's a good result, not just for the council, but for our residents as well. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll go to group leaders now. So, Councillor Bode for the Liberal Democrat.
Yes, it was discussed at ONS. One question I would like to look at is on table 2, which is showing the forecast of investment income returns, and that for 25-6 and 26-27 they're low. And you've given an answer for that as to why, because of what we haven't lent. But what impact is that having on the budget? Because it's quite a big drop, which is sustained for at least 2 years.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Phillips, any thoughts from the Conservative group?
I hope, if I've understood this correctly, that we've been getting this report intermittently because of other factors here. I hope now that we're going to be seeing this on a much more regular basis than we have previously, and I think, Councillor Chilvers, that is the direction you're pushing in.
Thank you. And Councillor Falp for the Whitnash Independents.
Yeah, no comment at this time. I am on the budget review group, and audit and standards, so I've made comments at both those meetings.
Okay, thank you. Any comments or questions from Cabinet members? Okay, so Councillor Chilvers, for you to wrap up, and a couple of questions there for you to answer.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for those comments. And yeah, it was good to be with ONS a couple of nights ago discussing this. So yes, Councillor Phillips, I definitely want to see a regular timetable for this coming through because of its importance. And I will go back and check what's in the calendar and make sure that that timetable is clearly available so to all councillors. And I'll maybe circulate that to ONS. So that's that one. Councillor Bode, as you say, table 4.3 does explain why that's lower in table 2. I think I'm happy to take any kind of more detail you need and come back to you on that. Councillor Milson and ONS, yeah, thank you. So really, really helpful feedback on the kind of actually this being an opportunity to talk about why, like how we're securing that £248 million of borrowing that we have. And it's all, the committee's comments already provoked conversation about how we can do that and which bits need to be private and confidential and which bits we can talk about. And so of that 248 million, over half of that, about 136 million, is because we had to buy back our own council stock back in 2012, because that's what the government made us do. And so, of course, that we have like an asset for all of those 136 million pounds in our housing stock, which we are getting rent from, so it's delivering a return. And then most of the remainder, or the next portion of the remainder, is other Section 106 houses we bought, which actually it's an aim of us as a council to make sure that we are buying more affordable housing for residents to live in. And of course, again, it's the same, we get an asset against it. And then there is also some that we're borrowing that's for Milverton Homes, which again is to provide high quality housing in the district. There are some other bits, but those are the bulk of our debt. And so overwhelmingly, our borrowing is secured against assets which are bringing in a return. And with that, I would like to propose the report as laid out.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Melrose. All those in favour? Thank you very much. We're now coming back to Councillor Chilvers for fees and charges report. So again, a little introduction, please.
Yes, so this is one of the biggest areas of income for the council and obviously the services that we provide for residents, so it's really important. So I welcomed the debate last night, and I think I'll just leave it there and sort of respond to comments as they come. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we're now turning again to Councillor Milton, but this time is as chair of the Budget Review Group that met yesterday as opposed to overview and scrutiny that was on Tuesday.
Thank you, Chair. I have to say I enjoyed Budget Review Group more because someone had put the heating on, which was a change from Tuesday night. So firstly, the first item of feedback is that the Budget Review Group asked Cabinet to prioritise the commercial strategy and ensure that resources are put behind it. The group expressed disappointment that it is yet to be circulated. So I think for background, at the meeting in, I think, February of the Budget Review Group, I think we were very keen that the council built on the work that we'd done with Commercial Gov and turned that into a commercial strategy, which would then inform the fees and charges work. Despite that having been due at overview and scrutiny on several occasions, it hasn't come as a paper to us to review, and we think that means we're missing out on some opportunities, and therefore our residents are also missing out on revenue opportunities for the council. There was also concern amongst members, this took some time at the beginning of the discussion, regarding the absence of the parking strategy from the fees and charges and the group's ability to scrutinise the budget as a whole in its absence. So I think what we were very keen to do as a budget review group is not just get into the detail of line-by-line fees and charges, because that's not necessarily a very fruitful discussion, but to be looking at this in the round. And it felt like actually with a big component missing, that was difficult for us to do. But we did look at 3 specific areas. Again, a good level of discussion regarding green bin fees. And I think we were concerned about the impact on finances of the declining numbers. We also emphasised the importance of understanding the reasons for customer behaviour and the data behind it to allow correct decisions to be made. I think a number of us were slightly concerned that an assumption that because it had been hot, therefore that had reduced the number of permits to be sold, was probably perhaps jumping to a conclusion that didn't necessarily correlate 2 bits of information. And we should have some information by now about are we losing registrations from people who've got multiple bins who are reducing, or people going from 1 to 0, because that will inform our strategy on things like the green bags as well, which are being talked about. We also discussed bereavement services and noted the work of commercial gov in this area, and I think that's important to be using that as much as possible. We also had a brief discussion about the fees. It actually says Castle Farm, I think it should be Abbey Fields here in Kenilworth, not being available as yet. That felt slightly surprising to us that those haven't been set, with Abbey Fields hopefully opening in well, I know that a date in April has been discussed openly. That would be great if we can get it open as soon as possible. I know there's some discussion around that. But it would be, I think, again, it was just another piece of information that was missing for us. We know a conversation needs to be had. Committee wanted to encourage that conversation happens as quickly as possible, please. And that was our feedback from the group last night.
Thank you, Councillor Middleton. Just so I check I've understood the last couple of points there. First of all, Councillors King or Chilvers might want to come in about the opening date. But when you're saying costs, are you referring to how much people will have to pay when they enter and use the facilities?
Yes. Sorry, Chair, I should have been clear on that.
Okay, thank you. Councillor King, are you? Oh. Okay, Councillor Sinnott.
I can respond on behalf of Abbey Fields. We're talking about swimming pools. We're still a little way off, and I'm not aware of what the fees are to be set at. I'm aware that when the pools are finished, it will take some weeks for everyone active to get in there to see the nature of the beast, how many people, staff, to do their ready reckoning. But they run the rest of our leisure centres, and I'm quite confident and happy that they'll come in on the money. We can have that conversation, certainly, if it's a point of issue, but other than that, I'm quite relaxed about it, I must say, Chair.
Okay, thank you. I think we're all keen that it starts as soon as possible. Councillor King.
Yeah, I can just say that as far as the work at the moment is proceeding, it's going very well. We're ahead of schedule and we're within our contingency figures, but we are still somewhat at the behest of, I think it is the water company at the moment rather than the gas company, who aren't always wanting to be as nimble as we are in getting the project moving forward. But I think April is a date that at the moment is being talked about somewhat wistfully, but it is a date being talked about.
I believe that may be for completion as opposed to opening, so to be clear, that is not saying people can jump in the pool then. Sorry to keep you waiting, Councillor Bode. Any other comments from your group?
Not really, because you've had from finance person.
Thank you. And Councillor Phillips, from you?
Yes, thank you. I think our principal concern was the price elasticity on the green bins, where I think you're putting them up 8.5%, and I have to acknowledge, you've actually not increased the revenue by that amount compared to this year. But I think that's where our principal concern was, absent the car parking charges.
Okay, thank you. I'm sure Councillor Chilvers will pick that up. Councillor Falp first, though, please.
Yeah, green bins, I did express concern of putting it up to £51. I wanted to know if they'd explored, because I get very cross that I can't fill my bin from about November to March, because no matter how much I do the garden, I can't get it full up, and I'm paying for that. And I just asked if had it been looked at, whether we, suspend the service. I know we do over Christmas, but I think this court said it's very much down to the contract that we've got with the supplier at the moment. And there was a talk about whether people could pay by direct debit and not all in one go, because, £51 for some people is a lot of money to find in one go. I think we agree that, or this court said it was going to be very difficult to do that. On the costs for the new swimming pool, I think all of us would be very disappointed if there was a different cost to swim or use that centre compared to Leamington or Warwick, because surely it's a Warwick District Council leisure centre, and shouldn't people in Kenilworth, Leamington, Warwick all pay similar price to anywhere else? So, and I did express some concern about not knowing the date, so I do need time to find my new swimming costume to go and use it. So, I do need a couple of months' notice of getting it, especially that time of the year. It's not so easy to get swimming costumes that time of the year. So yeah, it's more concerned about, we should all be paying the same amount no matter what leisure centre we're using. Though I understand there's probably some commercial thoughts around it.
Thank you, Councillor Phelps. Other swimming pools are available closer to your home. I don't know if Councillor Sinnott, you want to respond about the fees, the charges?
Thank you, Chair. I can't confirm one way or the other, but I will be having that conversation. That will be taken into account, and your concerns will be passed on. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from Cabinet or questions? Councillor King.
Just a quick one to remind everybody that the pricing on the green bins may be sustainable as it was, or even as it is now, in terms of the collection company, through pricing it for 52 weeks of the year, notwithstanding Christmas period. So having a downs time of, maybe 2 or 3 months may just make the other months of the year impractical.
Okay, thank you. No other comments, so back to you, Councillor Chilvers.
Thank you very much, and I thought it was a really helpful conversation at Budget Review Group yesterday. Welcome the comments on commercial strategy. It is disappointing that we haven't got that yet. It is due to come in March, but I will be going away and having conversations to assess whether we do need to put in extra resource to make sure it comes in March, because obviously there are lots of priorities within finance, the budget, the MTFS, the HRA, the auditing, external auditing. So there are a lot of priorities there, but I will be going away and having those conversations to work out what we need to do to be able to bring it forward. And I'll be having, I'll let Budget Review Group know when we get to on that. On the parking, this was discussed last night. As I say, I think we've done a really good job of, although we would have liked it all to come together, I think we've done a really good job of very clearly ring fencing it so we know what numbers we're talking about in both parking and everything else. So I think that's good. And I think the other advantage is that parking strategy is going to, there will be plenty of opportunity for members to look at that now on its own, because actually it does deserve to be looked at properly, because it's a large amount of money and it has a really direct impact on the residents. So I'm really happy with the timetable we've got through the autumn on the parking strategy, and I'm also happy that Councillor Roberts will be back to take us through that. On the green bins, as we had quite a long conversation yesterday about what data is available and what more we could get hold of, and Mr. Rollins has sort of made some very clear requests about what he wants to see come through. And so, but there is, we are only a few years in, it's hard to disentangle the various causations of why things might be happening. And I think as Councillor King's already covered, the suspending the service at various times of the year, at the moment it's built into the contract, and actually the reason it's built into the contract is because of actually for BIFA to operate it with a staff team, it has to be year round. We are going to look at those green bags as an alternative for people that don't want a bin, but obviously they need to be priced and worked in a way that doesn't it's got to be priced in a way to get the incentives right about whether people get a bag or a bin, but we will be looking to bring that forward during the course of the financial year, so not at the beginning of the financial year. And then on the price itself, clearly we inherited as administration a year-on-year 10% rise for green bins, parking, incomes on those to go up by 10% year-on-year. As you know, we've gone back and looked at that, and we've actually managed to keep things, apart from green bins and parking, down to an income rise predicted of 3%. We've managed to keep that green bin price within that 10%, which was initially projected in terms of income, and it is 8.5, and we will be which is under that 10, and we will be continuing to try and work out ways of making that that rise as little as possible, because none of us came into politics to put the price up on things, and we want to make sure we recognise that actually without a price, charging for green bins, there just wouldn't be a service. The council couldn't afford it, and so we want to provide a good service, and we want to do it within good financial prudence for the organisation. And with that, I'd like to recommend this to Cabinet.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Councillor Sinnott. All those in favour, please. Thank you very much. Councillor Chilvers can have a little rest now. It's on to members' allowances. It wasn't discussed at ONS. Councillor Bode, any thoughts from your group?
Well, just one sort of tangential discussion. Leamington Town Council were looking at reviewing their costs and were told a remuneration panel would be set up. We maybe mistakenly thought it would be part of this, as you've got a team in there, but it didn't happen. So I just wondered what was happening on that. So a bit of a cheeky question, really.
It is. I will carry on, and then at the end, our monitoring officer may be able to say something about that. Councillor Phillips, any thoughts from your group?
No, I thought it was a good exercise, and I just think probably we should put a record, I'm sure you will, our thanks to the independent panel for their work.
Yes, thank you. Councillor Falp.
Oh yes, I'm going to comment on this. I don't need the Town and Parish Council one, Alan, because we don't take any remuneration, any pay for being Town Council, is it, Nash? I'm delighted to see, after so many years of nagging, that 4 isn't necessarily a group, 2 is a group, 3 is a group now, and it's not about the money, it's about I have to attend, or don't have to, I attend everything that all the other group leaders attend. The cabinet, I haven't got so many members to look after. I was going to say, yeah, I have got Adrian, but bless him. But
Just ring him up.
Yeah, just ring up and tell him. I thought I disagreed with him last night or something. But it's important, which I'm pleased people supported, that actually a group is 2 at the county. So, but if we're attending, whoever it is attending all the other meetings, reading all the other papers, attending online meetings, that actually we should be treated equally. So welcome it, thank you.
Thank you. Any comments from Cabinet colleagues? Okay, yes, you can see it's larger. This doesn't have the inflation bit, so that will come in later, but it's largely as things were. There have been a few changes, and they are, which has led to about an £8,000 increase in allowances overall, but they've been offset quite a lot by the budgets for the chair and vice chair being the taxes within that, so it's not after tax, it's included. A little bit more for the chairs of ONS and housing, as they are such large groups, and champions get a small allowance as well, not huge amounts. I will turn to the monitoring officer now about that question, but he has reminded me that the government is consulting on pensions being included in our allowances. We don't have jobs, as you know, because there is no job security as a councillor, but there may be some pensions coming in. Obviously, if that does happen, then that's a financial burden for this council. So, Graham Leach, have you got any response about trying to help town councils doing similar reviews?
Thank you, Leader. We have an obligation to undertake those reviews and bear the financial cost of those reviews as well, if there is such, which is why we're trying to align that work at the same time. It is a part we are actively working with the panel on. We'd hoped to get them at the same time, but didn't.
Okay, it sounds if it might be good if town councils could be aligned then if they do do get remunerated in some form. Okay, good points raised there. I would like to recommend the recommendations as laid out. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor King. All those in favour? Thank you very much. That's great. We're now on to parental leave policy for councillors, and we have to apologise here to Councillor Dixon because she raised some points that I don't believe you've seen. So that was an oversight on our part. And if you've got the appendices in front of you, I'll try and go through them. This was a bit that Appendix 1, the first point, was saying when does maternity leave start? And it said from the due date, which seemed a little bit strange. So the suggested change to that is that it, so this is 1.1 of Appendix 1, that the leave will start on the day the councillor commences maternity leave, which I think is sensible. Apologies, you haven't had notice of this. And the other suggestion, following a little bit of email exchange with Councillor Dixon, is at the very end of Appendix 2, which is saying when a councillor returns to their role, and this is after parental leave, whether maternal or paternal, it's saying on that the group leader should manage the return, which is clear, which is true, but to be more specific, we're wanting to say the group leader should keep the civic and committee services manager informed of A, specific individual circumstances that may lead to a deviation from the procedure, and B, how when the councillor will be returning to their role and the expectations around this. I believe Councillor Kate Dixon has quite a lot of knowledge about this area, and that there are circumstances, obviously, where a normal return needs some flexing. So we hope the wording will be there. I believe this is one that does come to council, is this right? So I'm trusting our officers will find a way to put this online, both the question and answer and the changes, and obviously it's a bit rushed now. If you want to comment, that's great, but it may well be at council if there's anything wrong with that suggestion. So apologies for that. Councillor Bode, other than Councillor Dixon's points, anything from your group?
No, you can tell we're generally supportive.
You and Councillor Phillips?
Yes, I think I would echo Councillor Bode's remarks for our group.
Thank you. And Councillor?
I'm a bit old for, for this type of leave, but I actually fully support it. It should have come in a long time ago, really. why should we almost have to give up our job just because we're going to have a baby? I've seen councillors before trying to manage feeding a baby and being on an online meeting. I remember Councillor Bode and both Councillor Bodes trying to juggle babies and, you know, and meetings and handing over. So it's a long time coming. And we should be doing it. And Councillor Dixon, I think, was midwife for at least 2 of my grandchildren. So, yeah, fully welcome it.
Thank you. Any comments from Cabinet? Councillor Chilvers.
Not directly related, but I'm very keen that councillors make better use of the carers allowance that is available. And it doesn't get claimed as often as it should, but it is there. Childcare, that's right, yeah. That's right. The childcare allowance. So just an advert for that.
Thank you. Yes, thank you for those comments. I'm very supportive of this as well, although it won't affect me. I'll propose from the chair. Can I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor King. All those in favour? Thank you very much. We now move on to procurement exercises over service threshold. This is one, as you know, where the broad bits are here, but the appendix is confidential. Councillor Bode, anything from your group on this?
Not really, probably on the confidential bit, but not this bit.
Okay, thank you. And Councillor Phillips?
Likewise, I have a query which I would like to take under confidential.
Okay, good, thank you. And Councillor Phelps?
Nothing at this stage.
I'm now going to, before we continue, just check with our monitoring officer in terms of process. Because if we have to go into confidential session first, I will suspend this and do the rest. Graham Leach, please.
Through you, Chair. I think if there are questions on the confidential bits that are directly related, I think it would make sense to reorder the item, because there is also, reminding you and members, there is the addendum to this report as well, which would mean an additional recommendation in the public part for an additional contract as well. So I think from a pragmatic point of view, come back to this one later on, in which case.
Thank you. So I trust you will remind me that I don't mess up on this one. So we will deal with this as the last item that's open, that's in public session. So item 9, Shakespeare's England, performance review and future funding options. This is in Councillor Billiard's.
Abbey Fields.
Sorry, why? Okay, sorry, I'm on a different. Okay, we can do Abbey Fields. So this is the shared pathway, yes. So yes, Councillor Williams, do you want to introduce it?
Yes, Chair and colleagues, I'm pleased that this is about Abbey Fields' proposed footway and cycleway. I'm pleased to introduce this report that proposes a shared walking, wheeling and cycle route through Abbey Fields. The new path would link Abbey Fields with Castle Farm Leisure Centre. It would complete the missing section of the National Cycle Network Route 52, creating a safe, continuous and attractive connection across Kenilworth. As detailed in the paper, the consultation drew over 1,000 responses, with a majority in favour of the scheme, but a clear message that safety for all users, especially around the swimming pool and play area, must be central to the final design. These are legitimate and well understood concerns that will be addressed through careful design and clear management measures. The recommendations here before Cabinet allow for further detailed work with Sustram and Warwickshire County Council to refine the design, align it with the new 2 crossings at Bridge Street and Borrowell Lane, and ensure that all users, families, children, walkers and cyclists can enter and leave the park safely and confidently. I'd be very pleased to hear comments from colleagues and to take any questions, And I would like to express my thanks to the town and district councillors from Kenilworth who have already participated collaboratively in this discussion leading to the paper here, and the very, very diligent work of officers who undertook the consultation very, very carefully.
Thank you, Councillor Williams. Now, this is a time for Councillor Milton to wear his third hat of the evening, because he's now here, I don't know whether I say just as a councillor or as a Kenilworth councillor. Technically, it should be as a ward councillor, but I believe it's only one Toucan crossing in your ward. But clearly, residents in your ward will use the facility if built. So, Councillor Milton, please.
Great, thank you, Chair, and thank you for giving me a few moments. I won't take long. I did actually, members will know this is a scheme I've been very interested in for many, many years, and it has been many, many years. And I did want to start by echoing Councillor Williams' support and thanks to officers. It's been hard finding a solution. I think this solution that's set out probably isn't the best route for a cyclist to take, but it is the only route that is possible. And I think that's very, very clear. They've also conducted a thorough consultation. And I'd like to actually thank Cabinet and members for actually bringing it forward as well, because it would have been an easy one to leave on the too difficult pile. It has been very, very complex. Interestingly, I think the last time it was discussed at full council, and coming back to the mention of collaboration, was a joint motion that I proposed and Councillor James Kennedy actually seconded, which was before the school opened, to ask us to make progress as quickly as possible. And it was a really good reminder that a significant benefit of this will be about facilitating safer travel by active means to the new school, which is extremely important for the people of Kenilworth. I do have two cautions that I do want to just flag to Cabinet as part of this. The first is about the dependency that we're creating on Warwickshire County Council funding. People will be aware that the political climate has changed, and whilst we previously had an administration there who were at least, I think, verbally supportive of cycling, we now seem to have an administration who are verbally against cycling. I think that's a concern that Cabinet may wish to just work through over the next few months. The second one is actually to do with the safe passage around the swimming pool. And I think the preference for many cyclists would actually be the need for a continuous path. I can see the attraction of the two destination model in theory, but in practice it's actually problematic, largely because we'll end up creating something which may in theory be safe but is actually unenforceable. And that's likely to increase the risk of conflict, because there will inevitably be people who won't follow the rules. It's far preferable, and we had a long conversation with people who ride bikes in Kenilworth about this. It's far preferable to use measures that actually encourage people on bikes to slow down. So that's things like different surfacing, layout, something more than signage that actually becomes self-policing and self-enforcing. And that would be a far preferable measure, I think, from my view in particular. But other than that, I'd say thank you to everyone who's worked hard on this, and good luck on getting it to come to fruition.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Bode, anything to add to your colleagues?
Nothing to add.
Thank you. Councillor Phillips.
Yes, welcome that we're actually getting on with this now. We've got a solution. It may not be the 100% ideal solution for cyclists, but it works.
Thank you. And Councillor Fowle.
Yeah, I can understand residents' concerns about this, but I'm not a cyclist, but I do sit on the cycle working group with the district and county officers, where we look a lot about storage for bikes, which is important. So I drive through, I cycle through, but when you go to the swimming pool, you actually want to be able to park your bike. So that's an important part of a scheme like this. Yes, please, it's happening now. I think it's important we do it. It ticks our climate box as well. Hopefully we'll get people out of cars. But I have reservations, as Councillor Milton does, about WCC involvement. Because, you know, when they're talking about sending money back to the government for schemes like this, you know, you do have concerns the way they're thinking.
Okay, thank you. Quite a few points there. Before I go to Councillor Williams, anyone else would like to make? Yes, Councillor Chilvers.
Can I just declare that I'm a Warwickshire County Councillor?
I'm sure that's fine, but our monitoring officer, please, Graham Leach.
It's absolutely, it goes back, Chair, to the dispensations which are in place already. I'd also envisage, with all due respect to Councillor Chilvers, it's probably a cabinet decision of the county rather than, which you're not a member of, last time I checked, rather than a council decision, so you're doubly okay.
Okay, thank you. Just 2 points from me before I go to Councillor Williams. The first is, it should be simple, shouldn't it, to lay a bit of tarmac over. But this has been incredibly complex. The number of agencies involved and the difficulties. It's staggering how hard it is, and fantastic work by officers to get this far. Clearly, in terms of the county council, there are statements and so on, which there's also the business of working in partnership and getting on with stuff. So we'll have to see how that plays out, but I'm hopeful that the councillors there are aware of their duties and obligations, but we'll again, I know officers are working hard on this, and we'll have to see how that goes. Councillor Williams, over to you.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the comments. Just on the Warwickshire County Council link, because we're talking about that, it really is well understood, and we do know the risk. I would say in defence, you know, we've had nothing but support from the County Council today and officers, so let's go forward with a spirit of confidence there. And if that's a problem that we encounter later on, then we'll deal with that problem at that point of time and find a way to overcome it. I take your comment about how easy this is to do and the best route or the only route. This is the only route. It's a much loved historic monument, and others have greater powers than we do, and this is the best route that we can come forward with. So what I'd say to Cabinet is the recommendations before you strike a balanced course of action. They confirm our commitment to deliver a continuous shared path. So I note Councillor Milton's comments. This paper has the commitment to deliver a continuous shared path through Abbey Fields, but ensuring our next stage is guided by the feedback from the consultation. I think it would be remiss of us to have a consultation and not act upon the feedback. So the work that we're going to ask our officers to do from now going forward in collaboration with Sustran and Warwickshire County Council, we'll bring forward a detailed proposal in March 2026, and our ambition is for a continuous route, and the two destinations path is really a fallback position, which we hope not to be in. It's just worth noting that funding for our share of this work is already in place within the Council's budget, so we're ready to proceed once design and planning approvals are complete. And on this timetable, with indeed the good luck that Councillor Phillips has wished us, on this timetable we expect to begin construction in summer 2026, so it's in line with the completion of the new pool. As a councillor here at Warwick District Council and within this Green Labour administration, I really believe this project reflects the collaborative values which we share. We're listening to all voices, we're responding with care, and we're acting for a cleaner and safer and more connected community. So I recommend this paper to Cabinet for approval.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Billiard. All those in favour? Thank you very much. We're now on to, I believe, the Community Safety Agreement. So this is This is Councillor Sinnott's area.
Thank you, Chair. I'm happy to bring this paper to Cabinet. If I can open up. The Safe for Warwickshire Partnership Board Community Safety Agreement is a duty and is helpful as an umbrella agreement for our South Warwickshire Community Safety Partnership. It ensures that we are joined up and relevant. Priorities and themes are noted on page 4. This will help us to maintain focus. I'm happy for any questions, Chair.
We now go to group leaders. Councillor Bode, any comments from your group on this one?
Only that, well, we've got to sign it anyway, but it'd be interesting to have some feedback 6 months on as to what improvement it's made.
Yes, it is a requirement. Thank you. Councillor Phillips.
Just to say we support this.
Thank you. Councillor Phillips.
Yeah, I think this is very much a strategic document. I think some people have thought it isn't. We've all received emails. But I think people need to know that there's officer groups beneath this who actually carry out all the day-to-day work on it and report back to the meetings. The meetings are long because there's so much going on. It's got a good chair at the moment who keeps us to task to 2 hours. But we could meet every month, to be honest. There's so much work happening there. And I think people perhaps don't realise how much work is done. But this is a strategic document. We have to produce it. This is the high level. There's a lot of work underneath it, and I fully support it.
Almost a recommendation there. Thank you. Any comments from Cabinet colleagues? So back to you, Councillor Sinnott.
There was a comment there around data and what sort of impact that we're having. Being part of Warwickshire, we do actually have access to 2 of their data analysts, which are highly talented, and they give you all the data you kind of ask of them, so we can monitor and track progress. So with that in mind, I would like to propose recommendations as laid out in this paper.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Williams. All those in favour? Thank you very much. So now I hope I can navigate this correctly. I believe we are back to the procurement, and I'll just ask Councillor Chilvers, when he's finished his mouthful, to say a few words in public session. If there's anyone wants to say anything in public, that's great. We will then go into private session. Thank you. Councillor Chilvers.
Thank you. I'm just finding the report again. So as normal, these are items which exceed the threshold by which they need to come to Cabinet. This time we've got temporary recruitment, so it's like agency staff, which is something the council have been working very hard on to reduce, and that's reflected in this contract. Microsoft Enterprise Agreement, and ventilation systems and condensation control. And there's also an item, an addendum that's in confidential session, which covers an item within the housing revenue account. So I think that's what I need to say in public, and I'll now come back to you.
Thank you. Does anyone want to make a comment in public now? Okay, so I think technically we're going to go into private session now, then pop back to vote on this, and then back into private session. But the public bit probably won't be that long. Just checking with the monitoring officer, that's correct?
It is, but you need to propose going into private session for the reasons set out on the agenda and voting on that before you do so.
But I'm just suggesting the members of the public may not want to come back for the tiny bit. Okay, so that's correct. I'm asking colleagues to consider resolving under Section 100A of the Local Government Act 1972, the public and press be excluded from the meeting for the following item items by reason of the likely disclosure of exempt information within paragraph 3 of Schedule 12A of the Local Government Act 1972 with a variation order. I'm proposing that from the chair. Thank you, Councillor Melrose. All those in favour? Thank you very much. Okay, so welcome back to this Cabinet meeting. We've just come back out of a confidential session, was to look at the confidential bits about the procurement exercise. So I believe there are no more questions or comments on this, so we go back to Councillor Chilvers as portfolio holder to wrap up this item,
So I'd like
including the addendum.
I'd like to recommend item 9, including the confidential appendices and the addendum as laid out.
Seconded by Councillor Melrose. Thank you very much. All those in favour? Thank you. That concludes the public session bit. So we're now going back into confidential session. So for the reasons set out in the agenda, I'm proposing that the public and press are removed. Do I have a seconder for that? Thank you, Councillor Melrose. All those in favour, please. Thank you. Are we...